Good morning, Grizz Nation. Welcome into another Grizz Game Day update. I am joined by Katy Winge because the Grizzlies will take on the Denver Nuggets this evening, 9 p.m. tip if you're watching from Memphis. Katy, this is like our third year doing this. Thanks for coming.
Hey, I feel like the Grizz fans like know me personally now. Like when we play the Nuggets, it's like, okay, we're gonna hear from Katy today.
Yeah, and I always talk about how much I love having you on because you're hella knowledgeable. So let's get to the game. This one's going to be good. Okay, so the Grizzlies are number 1 in the West right now. The Nuggets are 1 game behind. They're in number 2. So this win would put them in like tied for number 1.
Yep.
This win for the Grizzlies would make them the first team in the West to get 20 wins. This game's on TNT. This is just going to be like a good game, period. So the Grizzlies have no one on their injury report other than everyone who's like been on it. Desmond Bane is still out. Danny Green is still out. Michael Porter Jr. is out for the Nuggets, but then like everyone is questionable, Katy. It's KCP, Jeff Green, Jokic, Jamal Murray. Do you want to talk a little bit about the injury report for you guys?
Yeah. I'll start with Jokic just because I know he's the star of the show. He's probable tonight, so I would expect him to go. I don't know why he wouldn't. I think that they're probably just playing it safe with him in case he does want to take a night off coming up because his body is banged up. I swear he could have like he could be on the injury report and then have like 6 different injuries alongside his name. So obviously we're getting to that point of the season. He's been playing a lot of minutes. He's somebody that the Nuggets have relied upon heavily. So, but he's going to go. The 3 that are questionable, Michael Porter Jr. was upgraded to doubtful. He has been out for the past couple. I don't see him going. I don't think he's had enough practice time. They want to get him in some live work before he goes, but he's making his way back for Denver. KCP hurt his lower left leg in the last game. He did play through it, so I'm expecting him to play tonight. Jeff Green with low back. I'm expecting him to play too, questionable again. And then Jamal Murray, it's just injury management coming back from that ACL. Coach Malone talked about him not feeling great in the Nuggets last game, and he played through a lot of pain. So he's kind of the one where I'm like, oh, I could see it going both ways. He could really use a night off to rest his knee. I just don't think tonight's going to be the night that he takes off, with it being a TNT game, with it being a battle of the best of the West. Jamal Murray's such a competitor that I can't see him being like, you know what, I'm actually going to rest tonight. I think that there might be rest on the horizon for him, but I don't think it's going to be against the Grizz.
Yeah, Jamal Murray is a dog, and we've seen that time and time again when he comes up against the Grizzlies. Okay, let's start with Jamal then. We'll do like an if he plays.
Okay.
It's a battle of the Canadians. And I've talked about this a number of times when Dillon Brooks on our end really gets up on the defensive end when he's going up against Canadians, especially when the Canadians are like really good, like Jamal is. Since coming back this year, he's averaging just over 17 points a game, shooting 44% from the field. Him and Dillon have played 8 games against each other over their careers. Lots more when you consider practicing with Team Canada and all of that.
Yeah.
Jamal's been just like this sniper from the long mid-range this season. What do we like about this matchup? Because Dillon Brooks is also, there was a ranking that came out where he's like ranked 3rd in Defensive Player of the Year. Standing so far. I always I look forward to him and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander that we had 2 times last month. And now we get Jamal Murray, almost like a back-to-back. Like I go like this when I'm thinking about the matchup.
I know, like, yes. So Jamal's had a couple tough games. Last game, he didn't shoot the ball well. He was 2 of 11 from the field, but he did finish with 11 assists. So he still found ways to contribute, playing through some of the pain that he was experiencing with his knee. He does get up for a big stage. He does get up to up against some of the best players in the NBA. I'm actually not certain who he'll guard tonight. Like we could see him on Jaw at times. But I also think with the new defensive presence that the Nuggets have in KCP and Bruce Brown, those 2 could also be on Jaw. And obviously they're going to switch a lot. And so it'll be a complete team effort from that standpoint. You mentioned his mid-range game. He has been just a master of the mid-range in that 2-man game with Nikola Jokic. It's been so fun to watch the way that they've been dissecting defenses. Jamal's gotten so good at the pocket pass to Joker and finding him when he's open. And then he's really at his best, Murray is, when he's coming off of those screens and is looking for his shot first, when he's being aggressive, because the defense has to honor that then, right? And it allows Nikola Jokic to be open. He put the defense in a really compromising position. And so Jamal's been hunting his shot as of late. Last couple games it hasn't been going in, but it's still really good for the Nuggets offense. And so I think you'll see the same type of action for Jamal Murray to get open. And then it's just about him taking a shot selection.
Okay, you brought up two things that I want to talk about. I'll start with the pick and roll for you guys. That is really a two-man game between two all-stars, between Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. Let's talk about Nikola Jokic then, because he is the back-to-back reigning MVP. Like, he's unreal. And I'm assuming it's like a team effort to guard him because he's not a regular big. You're not just going to stick Steven Adams on him and say, okay, go to work, because he can pass, he can dribble, he can shoot, he does it all. How have teams been slowing him down? What stops him?
Nothing really stops him, but all teams try to do is slow them down, to slow him down, to your point.
They double him.
And he's seen like every coverage under the sun to start the season. Like, they'll send a double team when he puts the ball on the floor. They'll just play him one-on-one and try and make him a scorer to take away his playmaking ability. They'll send a double team to try and get the ball out of his hands, and he always finds the open player for usually a pretty easy bucket. So pick your poison when it comes to Nikola Jokic. Honestly, he's somebody that a lot of teams I've seen kind of taking the approach of like, okay, well, Joker's going to get his, let's try and limit everybody else around him. But the problem with that is he truly does make everyone around him better. No matter who is on the floor with him, he is going to find ways to make them successful, and especially around the basket. Like, if you cut and you're playing with Joker, he's probably going to find you. So you're getting very high percentage shots. You always have to be down and ready to shoot. He gets a lot of open corner threes for teammates. So, and then if you play him one-on-one, he's probably just going to roast you. So you have to make it tough. You have to try and slow him down, but he's the back-to-back MVP for a reason. So good luck.
Yeah. I mean, I say that a lot of the times when people are asking me like, okay, how do you slow down Ja? And I don't have an answer for that because it hasn't happened this season yet. And you mentioned making his teammates better. And we talked about this before I started recording. Another TNT game where Ja's coming in for the first time after Charles Barkley had said Ja doesn't make his teammates better. So I would assume that Ja's going to have a big night tonight, points wise and assist wise. And it's going up against a defense that has been struggling. The Denver Nuggets, and we talked about these even last year, the Denver Nuggets offense is great. Third offensive rating in the entire league. One game out from being first in the West, but their defense is 27th right now, like out of 30. So not great defensively. How do they remedy that against a team that like the Grizzlies are first in fast break points in the paint, fourth and second chance points, like they can score. Yeah. What's the remedy there? So
the interesting part about tonight's game is I think the Grizz are really great at a lot of areas the Nuggets struggle to defend. So like blow-bys, keeping players in front. There's a reason that last season Ja averaged 27 points against the Nuggets. He had 20 points in the paint on average against them. And it's because they just didn't have the personnel to keep him in front. Not a lot of teams do, right? Like, he's so shifty and so quick. But I guess Nuggets fans are hopeful that with the addition of Bruce Brown, with the addition of KCP, allowing, Aaron Gordon to play more of that power forward defensive spot where he can slide in and rotate and be a switcher on the perimeter. I think the hope is that maybe they can just make it a little bit tougher for him, because they went out and got defensive players in hopes that they can make their defense better. And to your point, there's zero reason why they should have the 27th ranked defense in the NBA. And Coach Malone has been very vocal about this, of like, you can't tell me that seeing our roster that we're the 27th worst defense. Like, no way. You can't convince me of that. And the really interesting part is the Nuggets have the number one clutch defense in the entire NBA. So when the game is within 5 points with 5 minutes remaining, they decide they're going to defend, and they put their heart and soul into it. And clearly they can do it, and it pays off. Yeah, look, and Grizzlies fans know this as well. Like, looking at opponents, you do get up for your opponent. Oh, yeah. Up against one of the best teams in the West right now, 1 versus 2, and by like the smallest margin. They're coming off one of the worst losses of the season after a 7-game win streak. So you're going to want a little bit of redemption tonight going into a TNT game. We talked about this TNT game, two really good teams, MVP. So this one, I say this almost every time that I'm excited for the game, but this one I'm like, I will not be tired at 9 p.m. I will. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Katy, I cannot thank you enough. I always love hearing from you. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a really great, what are you doing tonight at the game? So it's TNT. So it's a national broadcast. So I will be watching at home the same way that you'll be watching at home. So I'm excited to see what the TNT folks have to say about these two teams, especially when Charles went on his rant about how he's tired of covering the Lakers. Like, you want a marquee matchup? You got it. Tonight's the night.